Hi, I'm back for my weekly message. In terms of COVID-19, not a lot has changed from last week. Still, there's just too many new cases and too many deaths, although things looks like they've stabilized. The one thing, however, that is of some concern is that the percent positivity is creeping up. Last week it was up to 4.6, which is higher than it had been the week previously. So that's of a little bit of concern, but it's creeping up very, very slowly, but something to watch. We had our first batch of testing for those who are living in our student housing. We tested 364 people, and only 2 tested positive. That's a percent positivity of only 0.05%. So we're very, very pleased with that. I was kind of excited to do this video this week because I wanted to tell you about a movie. It's almost like it should be must-watching for everyone. It's a movie called Contagion. And there were 2 reasons why I wanted to watch it. The first is that it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, and I had just spoken to him very recently because he wants to do a movie in Detroit, and he would like Wayne State to assist with the testing protocol. So that was on my mind. But also, Contagion is based off of a book by Robin Cook, and Robin Cook is a longtime friend of mine. His initial book was Coma, and that was in the, oh my God, it must have been in the around 1980 or so. I knew Robin because I used to play basketball with him at the Vanderbilt Hall, which is the dorms for the Harvard medical students, and he was an attending at the Mass Eye and Ear Infirmary of the Harvard Medical School. And rumor has it that it was his advocacy that got me into the Mass Eye and Ear Infirmary, which is quite believable when you think about it. These are very elite residencies, are hard to get into, and everybody has good grades and good test scores, and you almost always need someone who knows you in some other capacity who can really vouch for you and speak highly about you. And so I think I owe to Robin my getting into the Mass Eye and Ear. But the thing that was very interesting about Robin is that he was a very creative thinker. And at the Mass Eye and Ear, there was a floor that was kind of like a half floor. You could barely stand up in it. There was a lot of piping and everything in it. And he got the idea for Coma from visiting that floor because the ORs were right below this half floor. And if you remember what Coma was about, it was about people intentionally killing people getting surgery so they could harvest their organs. And it was, his idea was that there were anesthetics, harmful anesthetics that was coming through these pipes, and he got the idea from just seeing all these pipes on that half floor. So anyway, I thought I'd want to watch Contagion for those 2 connections. And I have to say it was it was a good movie, but it was particularly poignant because of the times that we're in now. And like I said, it's almost a must-watching, because if you really think about where we are now, there were so many parallels to the early stages of the pandemic and Contagion. The whole issues about masks and social distancing, people going to grocery stores and buying up things, the impatience of young people with respect to a lack of a social life. All these things were coming up. And I just kept on thinking, my goodness, was this just recently produced, because it was almost as if the movie was based on where we are now in this pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. But I actually Googled when it was produced, and it was 2011. So it was really, really remarkable in terms of where we are now and what the early stages of the contagion was in the movie. So if you get a chance, watch it. In terms of books, I mentioned that I'm going to be participating in a student-led book club. The book was March by Congressman Lewis. I did enjoy it very, very much, the book club. One thing I didn't know was that this was not a regular novel. In fact, it was something called a graphic novel. To me, it's basically like a cartoon. So I was able to read it in really about an hour, if that. It was very, very easy reading, but it was entertaining. And I'm not sure if the book club is going to be doing March 2 and 3, but I think this week that's what I'll do, is finish March 2 and March 3. So with that, I'm going to sign off and just say, my wife has just mentioned to me that I should mention Herman Cain. As you know, he was a presidential candidate the last election before he dropped out, and you probably know that he died, and he died from COVID-19 that was possibly contracted from attending the rally in Tulsa without a mask. A good reminder to everyone to don't take this lightly, and wear a mask, continue to social distance, be warrior safe. Until next week, bye-bye.